Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Going into the fourth and final hour of the episode, Nebula Jazz. Eugene, give her the scepter. So what happens here? Quinn, we cut back like 10 seconds. Quinn says, Eugene, give her the scepter. Cut over to Eugene.
Yeah, there's, like we said before, there's like a split second of just us holding eye contact or slime contact. And then I'm like, all right. And I go to my room to grab the scepter.
Okay. All right. So you leave. And the princess, she says to probably Rex, she's like, I'm sorry that this caused you so much trouble. The scepter's been missing a long time. Now that we have it back in our hands, the Agarans will be able to unite and we'll be able to fight the Empire. It's going to get more complicated for us, but you'll be done with it. Once Duke Mako knows that we have the scepter and not you, I'm sure he'll let the charges drop. Or at least forget about them. I can't say the universe is going to forget quickly that they think that you killed the prince. He was well loved. And then, yeah, Eugene, you come back in.
Yeah, Rex just kind of nods and he's like, sorry that I tried to eat you.
She laughs and she says, oh, don't worry. It's a compliment. And Thuja is like looking at the two of you and she gives you a look like, fucking stay away from her.
Rex locks eyes with Eugene as he comes in the room and gives him like a little nod. His arms are like folded. He's like up against the wall.
Okay. So you come back in. And you've got
I come back in. I have the scepter. I've taken the fake tag off again.
Right.
And I hand it over.
Okay.
My lady.
You.
I give it to the princessy empress sea girl.
Okay, sure.
I give it to the cutie pie. Here you go.
You go to give it to her, and then Thu just steps in the way, like, nah, you stand too close to her. And she takes it from you. And she like, her lip curls back in. Something approximating the Garan equivalent of a smile. It's a kind of an angry-looking scowl with a little bit of an eyebrow raise. And she kind of like holds it in her hand, and she nods. She looks at you, Eugene, and she's like, you could have avoided all this if you just given this to me in the first place. And
but what would have been the fun of that?
Yeah, and she like attaches it to her armor. There's like a equipment slot that she puts it in, and and she looks at you and she says, "What the princess said is true. If you just lie low for a little while, the Duke will figure out what's going on and he'll come after us instead. All this, not your problem anymore. You're welcome."
Quinn. Yeah, Quinn is still staring. He's looking out the floor and he looks back up and he's like, I hope whatever you're looking to achieve, this helps you in some way.
The princess says, all I want is justice. Justice for my brother and for you and all you've suffered. For all the people that the Duke has subjected to his horrible rule. And mostly for those poor people of Earth. And she looks pointedly again at Aurora. And she says, if I have anything to say about it, things like that will never happen in this universe ever again. And she kind of like puts on a stern, like a resolute face that ends up being both like kind of serious and also like incredibly adorable. And then she goes to like, she pulls her hood back up and we can still see her face because like, we don't need to, she's hidden, but we all can still see her.
Right.
And she says, you've done the right thing. I know that letting go can be hard, but I promise you everything will be fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Quinn looks back over at Eugene and gives Eugene like a nod, like, mm-hmm.
Ditto. Just,
Okay. So she turns with Thuja and they get ready to leave. And before she goes, Rex, you feel something as you realize she's gonna take this scepter. She's so full of like hope and light, and she's gonna take the scepter and go out and eventually figure out that y'all fucked her over. You feel something buried deep down inside of you that you've never felt before. It's guilt, and you don't know what that feels like. Yeah.
Point of order. He wouldn't know which was fake and which wasn't, because he wasn't around during that time.
Of course, I fucking made him.
So let's find out. Let's find out if Rex knows. That's a good point. Why don't you roll sneaky, Eugene? Quinn, you can help. Give a +1. You get a +1 from Quinn being helpful.
Sneaky, so, why?
Roll sneaky, you sneaky slime. Right. And then Rex, let's have you roll your clever, which is not actually that good anyway. So let's see if Rex is holy Jesus, Rex. All right. So do either of you want to spend fate points to modify these rolls?
From a 0 to a negative.
Like it's currently Rex, you're at -3. You can re-roll. You can re-roll if you want, but that's the worst roll you could possibly get. That is the worst Rex can do with clever. My question is, I guess we step back from the characters, and as players, is it more interesting to you, because you have control now, is it more interesting to you, Sam, if Rex knows or doesn't know?
It's more interesting to me if Rex knows. If Rex doesn't know, if Jesse and Brooke are deciding they're not going to tell Rex, then Rex is going to walk into Eugene's room, grab the other one, and go, that one might be
the
fake.
other one is down
one.
his pants.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you roll, if you want to spend points and re-roll and try to beat Eugene, if you beat Eugene, you realize something is up, and that's the fake.
Rex knows there's 2 scepters because he made them.
No, that's absolutely true. You know there's 2 scepters, but you haven't been around since.
But if
Eugene
you
and I had
guys
our
think
scene.
I'm going to let them leave without knowing which scepter you gave them, that's not going to happen.
Again, that's what the roll is for. So if you leave the roll as is, Rex is too awestruck by the princess to think about it, or assumes that it's the real scepter because he believes that his friends wouldn't lie to him. Because we've seen a bit of Rex's inner world, right? We know that Rex believes that the crew is like his friends and like his loyal crew, and that he sees a future with them in it, backing him up. And right now they are including you in the gullible suckers that they're pulling the wool over. So if you don't reroll, if you leave it at -3, it's your own internal belief that everything is going the way it's supposed to go, that the world is as heroic as, like, you're fitting into your story, right? If you want to reroll, and you can beat that 0, Eugene can still spend points too. But if the 2 of you end up in a place where Rex wins this roll, the cynicism kicks in, right? And Rex is like, wait a second. My friends are still my friends, but like, this is some bullshit. Is that the real one? And then you can call them on it or whatever before she leaves. So it's up to you if you reroll and go with that.
The answer to the question, which do I think is more interesting, is Rex, like, following up, like them about to leave, and Rex is like, wait a minute, just to be sure, let's just make sure, who knows, maybe they got mixed up, like, I don't know, just make sure that it's the right one.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes down to that roll. So Sam, do you want to spend a point to reroll? You've got lots of aspects that play into this.
Yes, let's reroll.
Okay, what are you going to invoke to reroll?
The first aspect we'll invoke is Daring Outlaw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would an outlaw do in this situation? Would he just hand it over? Rex questions it. He knows there's 2. And it is a daring action to give the fake scepter to the Empress.
Totally.
So,
okay, so reroll that clever, and then we'll renegotiate where we're at.
Okay.
All right, so it's a tie. So now Eugene and Rex have to decide how in they want to go on this. So as it stands, it's a tie, which we'd have to figure out what that means.
I mean, I could just use another one to win, right?
Yes, you could, exactly. But if you do that, then Dodger also has the opportunity to use another one to.
I'm not going to. So if you want to just,
I'll use compellingly heroic to add +2.
Okay. All right. So she turns to leave. There is this moment of like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Eugene, you do have the 1+1 from Quinn, but it still doesn't matter. It's a 2 versus a 1 now. So yeah, Rex spends that other point, and Rex, there is a moment in this like, yeah, good. We're wrapping this up. Everything's gonna be fine. We're like, wait a second, there is a fake, and I know these people. What do you do? Do you say anything? How do you react to that sudden revelation?
I guess, like, have to keep them on the ship somehow. Like Rex, he kind of like he remembers handing Eugene like 2 scepters. He like has like a mini flashback on the spot of the 2 scepters, and then he has like another flashback of Rex like nodding at Eugene and Eugene only looking at Rex.
Yeah, like
And
a slow
Eugene,
motion, like
I love that
Like-
this is one of those things where even though it just happened like 20 minutes ago in the movie, we're still getting a direct flashback to it
Yeah.
with like a black and white filter.
like Eugene and Quinn didn't look at me, and I'm like kind of the captain of the ship. They didn't look at Aurora. They just looked at each other, and then did this thing, and it's like doesn't feel right with Rex. So yeah, I think Rex he's like folding his arms by the door, and he holds a hand up, and he's like, "Hang on a minute, Thujo, I got something for you." And he nods, tilts his head, and he's like, "Eugene, give me a hand, will you?" And just like leaves the cargo hold what they're in
yeah,
into the body of the ship.
And they stop, and Thuja is obviously like wary, not of Rex, but of like every minute that, you know, she's away from her ship and safety in a garden space and like all that stuff. She's feeling like kind of nervous. So yeah, so there's a moment. So Eugene and Rex, you go out into the hall together.
sure, yeah. Follow him.
Okay.
Rex kind of like puts a hand on the wall and doesn't even look at Eugene, and he just goes, "Which one is it?
Sorry, what?
Which one is it?"
Oh, right, because you did the whole thing with the switcherooskies and you know, I'm not sure because you know I did the whole thing with the shadowy creature and I completely forgot to put the label on, but they're identical, right? So like, who cares?
So we'll give them both then.
Or we give them one because they're identical, right? And then we sell the other one, right? And then we both win.
I wasn't fucking born yesterday, Eugene, okay? You were, near enough. I wasn't. What's going on?
It's a fake one. It's a fake one. I don't know where the real one is. I got to be totally honest with you. I think Quinn has it. That was the fake one that we gave them.
You know how much trouble you know how much trouble we're going to be in when they find out it's the fake one.
You know, how are they going to know? Right? She said that when there's no juice, it doesn't work. So like, if it doesn't work, then it's like, whoops, I guess the robots did something stupid and it's busted. Not our fault.
2, not 1 army, 2 armies, Eugene, after us.
I don't know if you've seen Space eBay lately, but we've got multiple armies outside. That was part of the plan, I believe. This way, we're getting rid of one.
The plan's fucked, okay? The plan's fucked. The ship's fucked. We're not going anywhere. You know what's
All
a
right,
really
what do
bad idea? Going nowhere when we still have the fucking scepter.
All right, so what do you want to do? You're the captain. What do you want to do?
What can we do? It's too late. Where's Quinn?
What do you mean, where's Quinn? We just
Quinn,
left.
can you give
the
me a
party with
hand?
So yeah, I think we cut back to the cargo hold, and everyone is like awkwardly just like standing. The princess is like looking at her phone, like
I keep taking
Fun.
sips of the moonshine while like twiddling.
yeah. You're all just standing around in the room, and she's just like looking around, kind of like awkwardly, like, hey, and then yeah, Quinn, you get a call shout from the other room.
Quinn stands up and he looks around and goes, "Ladies," and he turns and like walks back into the room, and the door shuts, and all you hear is like muffled yelling in the back.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn comes in the room, and Rex turns and goes, "What the fuck is going on?"
And Quinn just like looks at Eugene. Is like, "You are a disgusting coward.
Look. Okay, he knew. He knew. What am I supposed to do?
Quinn just gives like a sigh and is like, of course I gave them the fake. We don't know this woman.
What do you mean?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's why we were doing it. Not for the money. It's for the
We get rid of it. We're done.
It doesn't matter. We have a responsibility now. You may not see it, but this came to us for a reason.
We have a responsibility to the Empress.
We
and
don't
we're
know
done.
that. She's not the Empress. We don't know who she is. She just told us a story that you have bought into. And Quinn like gives Rex this look and he's like, are you falling for this woman?
No.
classic movie line.
Yeah.
He's like, I
So-
can't.
So while
believe
you're having this conversation, the muffled like angry shouting, we cut back to the other room and Aurora, the princess, she says to you, she's like, so, do you remember anything about your homeworld?
And I nervously like look at Thuja because it's
Dude, gives you a look like, what? Why are you looking at me? Stop.
I mean, I remember a lot about my homeworld.
She kind of scowls and she's like, oh. And then kind of like looks at you and she says, I only remember a few things. And she like kind of looks at her hands. She's like, I didn't really fit in as a child, so tell me what you remember.
Oh, I mean, it's a very nice world. It's kind of, yeah, it takes some getting used to. I recently went back actually, and yeah, Grandpa is kind of cuckoo. He's kind of a little, but it's okay. It's okay because I love him. I still love him, and I think everyone on the ship, like, they just actually like they loved him too. But yeah, no, it's very unique, and I realized that there's a lot of. It's a lie. There's a lot of lies. There's a lot of like, the door, like it's.
So while you're saying this, the princess looks at Thuja and Thuja's like, I don't fucking know, man.
And I have the moonshine bottle still in my hand, so I just look like a complete insane drunk right now, even though I'm not drunk yet. No, and I'm like,
the princess just kind of like, she just nods and she's like, okay. Yep.
and then I just keep rambling. I'm like, wait, you went back though? Why would you go there? They don't like. I mean, no offense, but they don't really. And I look at Thuja again. I'm like, they don't really like your kind. I mean, but you know that already.
She kind of raises an eyebrow at you, and she says, "No, honey, there's nothing to go back to."
No. See, we just destroyed the library. We didn't destroy the planet. Like, it's definitely still there. They're a little angry at us. I don't think Grandpa wants me back anytime soon, but just the library.
And she says to you, she's like, "Where did you spend your adolescence? Where did you grow up, Aurora?"
Don't you know? I'm a Laxatronian. I'm a robot.
And she looks at the dog, and Sparky is just kind of like sitting there, like wagging his tail. And she looks back at you. She's like, oh, huh.
But that disappoints you now? You're disappointed in me?
She shakes her head. She says, no. I thought they would have told you. It's not my place to say.
I mean, no, they didn't tell me that they blew up a planet because you guys really liked it or something. They didn't tell me that. I had nothing to do with them and the all these things going on. I just was a kid, robot kid being raised. They were trying new things, and
she says to you, she says, but there's no one else like you where you're from, is there?
I was the new prototype. That's what they said. That I was the new prototype. They're trying something new to blend in. You know how you said you never fit in. Like I didn't really either.
She nods, and she takes a step towards you, and Thuja kind of like puts her hand up, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then she gives her a look, and Thuja backs down. She steps towards you, and she smells like cinnamon. You can like smell it, like kind of wafting off her as she steps towards you, and she puts her she reaches up and puts her hand on your shoulder, and she says to you, "I know what it feels like to be alone, to not have anyone like you. But you're not, Aurora, alone. I mean, there are others." And she kind of smiles and she says, "Ask your family about the truth, about where you're really from.
Well,
there's more to it than you know."
But I was just there, and they told me that I'm part of them.
She looks to the hallway where Quinn left, and she says, "Talk to Quinn. Maybe he can help you understand."
And I just go really silent because I'm like, at this point I'm just like really confused what she's driving at, and I'm just so stubborn about
yeah, of course,
the topic in particular. So I just go really silent, and then I just lift the bottle of moonshine and drink some, and I go, "You want some?"
Really are a human after all. So meanwhile, back in the corridor, where has the discussion gotten to in the corridor? Where are we at?
I think it's like a little bit heated, and Rex is kind of like, "You weren't gonna tell me?"
Quinn's like, "Of course I was gonna tell you, just not while she was in the room."
The kind of only important time do tell me.
We can't.
What is this group, Quinn? You know what? Fuck it. And you hear Rex say, "Computer." And it's like, "Yes, Rex."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Transfer command to Quinn." And then he shoves like
and of course, because
a
it's
receiver in your chest.
I say because it's a given. Because it's a given, you have to be like, "Computer, transfer command protocols to Quinn. Authorization Rex 46969." And then, yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And he shoves like the car keys of like the ship, like
yeah.
in your chest.
And it's like command transfer.
And he's like, "Congratulations, I guess you're the captain now."
Yeah. The ship is like, "Goodbye, Captain. Welcome aboard, Captain."
Yeah. And Rex just leaves the room.
Okay. All right.
And you see him he walks past like Thuja and the princess, and he like gives him a nod, and he's like, "Be safe." And he just the ship opens up and he's just gone.
Nice. Quinn, do you say anything, or are you just like aghast? Like, yeah, look at you. You are the captain now. What do you do?
Quinn looks down at the keys, and then
I think they're literally like car keys with like a little floaty like boat car key like protector thing with like a Buffett 4 Margaritaville like ad on the side of it.
It's a little hula girl. Yeah,
a little hula girl, exactly, just holding the car keys.
Quinn looks at the keys and then looks around, and he's like, "Who the hell wants keys to a ship that doesn't work?" And just like tosses them over his shoulder, and like just walks out of the room as well, and just leaves Eugene by himself there.
I'm just sitting in there like.
So the computer, when you do that, you're like, "Who needs a ship that doesn't work?" You leave and you walk away, and the computer just says quietly like, "But I can be fixed." And you storm out. Also, could we talk about how genius Rexit is? Jesus.
Rexit.
Hashtag Rexit. I didn't vote for it. Wow. All right. So Rex leaves. Quinn storms off the other way, throws the keys on the floor. The Eugene, you're alone in the hallway.
Gonna just all right. Well, good talk. Just sort of follow the direction Quinn went in, but not too fast, just in case that drama is gonna like move along with Quinn. I want to show up, not when it's at its peak.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess Rex, does anybody go out past where the princess is, or you've just you've wandered away completely in another direction?
Oh yeah, Rex he's essentially quit.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And then Quinn, what do you? So they're just left alone with Aurora.
No, Quinn goes to the Empress or whoever she is, and is like, "I'm sorry about that. Thank you for your time. I hope you get your people back or whatever," and just walks off.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, Thuja looks at the princess and says, "All right, enough screwing around. We got to get out of here." And she nods. Yeah, she turns to you, Aurora, before she leaves, and she says, "Good luck, Aurora." And the two of them leave the ship and disappear out into the crowd. We see Thuja's battle armor close over her face as they disappear.
I just sort of salute and drink.
Okay, all right. So Eugene, I guess you catch up with Quinn because Quinn stays on the ship.
I figure I come out and I see just the barest hint of Rex way off in the distance outside of the ship, and I'm like, oh God. And then I go back to where Quinn tossed the keys and pick them up, and they're floating in my body now, and then I and start going after Rex.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Quinn, do you stay on the ship?
No. I'm going back to where the slimes are. I've got a plan I set up, and it's gonna happen.
Okay, so here we are again, Aurora. You're drunk and you're alone on the ship.
What could possibly go wrong now?
It's gone full circle.
So you're just sitting there, and everybody's wandered away, sitting on a cargo box. And what do you do, Aurora?
I was I have some pieces that I sort of scrapped, and I'm looking at them. I finished almost a whole bottle, which is a bad idea. And I just kind of drop them to my sides, and I pick up my arm, and I'm looking at my little Pip-Boy pretty much, and I start doing looking up Earth and Earthlings, and seeing if there's any details or data on them, and what happened. And so I'm basically Googling this information and trying to find.
Yeah, so I think we get a short, this would be available as a QR code comes up that someone could scan and go look at a website. This would be the side thing, but you see a little video that's the story of Earth, and it shows the planet Earth, and it shows stupid cavemen walking around and talking, and then it kind of walks through human history in a very truncated form up until the pinnacle of human society, the 1980s, and it shows and this is the Alaxatronian version of history, so it's showing all the cultural things that humanity built, and then it was unfortunately, and then the Earth, we see a little mushroom cloud go off the Earth and a bunch more mushroom clouds. It was unfortunately, humanity was not able to sustain their technological growth and destroyed themselves in a horrible nuclear accident. And then it just shows the planet go, and a little sad faces floating in space. And then it says, thankfully, and then we see the now in ruins library of the Alaxatronians. It says, thankfully, most of human cultural and scientific progress has been saved in the archives at Alaxatron. And we see all these happy robots working in the archive. But yeah, it gives you this very, you've seen this before, but probably don't remember it because Earth isn't that important except as a cultural thing, an artifact. People emulate their culture because it's interesting, but they haven't really done much. And they blew themselves up 20 odd years ago. So.
And I'm that reminded me, I'm wait, does she lie? She lied to me about that? They blew themselves up, man.
And I think here's the thing. I think the last thing we see as it's kind of thankfully we've stored all of human whatever, and it shows the Mona Lisa and some other human cultural stuff, cave paintings, and then there's a Cyndi Lauper album cover, and we see through the hologram, we see the picture of Cyndi Lauper, and we see you behind it, and they overlap in a really profoundly meaningful way, and so we get this kind of moment of the audience gets to see you lined up with a human and be obviously, she can't tell, but we all know.
Yeah.
And that scene kind of fades out. And on a slowed down, sad orchestral version of She Bop or something. And then
it's a sad version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun Again. It's a callback to earlier. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. And so we cut to Rex. And Rex, where do you storm off to? Do you go anywhere in particular, or do you just walk the streets?
He's just in a fucking dive bar.
Okay, cool.
There's
yeah.
Just
All right. So we cut to Rex, and on the table, there's some empty drinks, and this place is like nasty. Like where Parlay was like big and kind of significant. Here, this is a dangerous place to be unless you're a badass like Rex. And you're just like hanging out at the table drinking alone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Eugene, you were gonna follow, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna try and follow him.
I guess let's ask Sam. Sam, do you want to have a scene with Eugene? Is it okay if Eugene follows you to the bar, or do you think Rex needs some space to breathe after his storming out?
I think Rex, it would be almost too embarrassing to have a talk so soon afterwards.
Okay, so it's all right for Eugene not to find. And is that okay? Like we can roll it.
Absolutely. No, I'm totally fine.
Okay.
Look, I've been lost before. I'm down
Right. So then I guess that's the question, Eugene. We see Rex in the bar. It's all dark and there's some jazz singer singing probably like a kind of sad cover of Girls Just Want to Have Fun in an alien language. We see that for a second, and maybe we see Eugene pass by the window. And Eugene, where do we see you? Like, are you desperately asking around like, hey, have you seen my friend Rex? Or is it do you end up somewhere else? You can set the scene for me, Dodger.
I again have no intention of drawing any attention to myself.
Can I compel you?
Yeah,
me?
Hell yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to compel you you see Rex in the bar, like you actually see him through the window, and you want to go in and speak to him, but you don't have the courage to speak to Rex about what just went down. Like you feel like even if you walked up to him, there'd be nothing you would have to say. So you don't.
I'm pretty into that. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I'll accept that and say that because I've found him and I literally just followed him so that I could find him, I've convinced myself no, I just need a minute. I just need a minute to figure out what I'm gonna say, because it has to be, really inspiring and shit. So I need to I can't go in there now because I don't have anything planned. So I'm just gonna hang out basically outside of the bar.
Right, practicing what you were gonna say.
Yeah, I literally just hang out there.
Rex, buddy, Rex. Yeah.
It's just rehearsing.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah. So we see you outside the window looking in, and then cut to the street where you're just like, no, I gotta think about this. What am I gonna say? Okay, cool. And then Quinn, where do you went to Slime Town, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've left for Slime Town and Aurora. Okay, we got Aurora situated. So I think in the bar, Eugene has turned to figure out their shit, and they don't see this happening. So Rex, you're sitting in this bar, and I think you look up, and across the bar you see across the table from you, you see the hallucination of Prince Navarius, and he looks at you and he shakes his head, and he's like, tough spot we find ourselves in. You say anything, or you just kind of give him the stink eye? Rex.
Oh, sorry. I thought this is a Quinn thing.
No.
What's up?
You're sitting across the table from the hallucination of the prince. He's
right.
We see him when we cut back to you.
Okay. And Rex just kind of sips his beer, and he's like, rub it in, why don't you?
He's like, so you met my sister.
Yeah, I guess so. Takes another swig.
She must be something special if Duke Mako wants to kill a whole planet just to get her out of the way. I guess that's what I was doing.
Say the same about you.
Yeah, he's like, I guess that's what I was doing, before you found me. So you're just gonna turn your back on them?
It's all fucking done anyway. Making a team was a mistake. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea in the first place.
And he nods. He says, yeah, you might be right. Time to go back to the old ways. Just you, the stars, and a fresh port in every storm, right?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But as Rex says it, you can like hear like his voice falters a little bit. Like it clearly was broken.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And he says, well, I mean, you can run if you want, but
she's in good hands. What do they need me for?
He says, well, I'll leave that up to you and your conscience. And
thought you were my fucking conscience.
He looks down at the table and back at you and he says, I don't know what I am, but
I'll drink to that.
You take a drink and you put the shot glass down. We look up and the table's empty again. Like he's vanished. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rick, he just ponders the conversation for a while.
Cool. All right. So Quinn, back in Slime Town, you return, and I guess what's your anticipation that things are going to be like here? Are there going to be like people around already, or like how close to the like time are we?
Let's say that we are very close. Like it's the meeting or whatever, the auction is supposed to happen very soon. So I don't necessarily go back to Slime Town, but I go to one of the many spots that I've set up to sort of snoop about what's actually goes down.
Okay, cool. All right. So you go to one of your little like safe spots, and what does it look like? Describe it to me.
So those, I'm trying to think of what they're called, but it's the like in my mind, Slime Town is very much like those the Chinese cities that are like walled. They're like so tall, and it's all these little houses crammed together. It's kind of like in the last Transformers movie, like that. All that like hundreds of people live and like.
Yeah, you're thinking of Kowloon, right?
Yeah.
And
there's probably a big courtyard in the middle where I imagine that's where they're building their rocket or whatever. But and so I'm in what is probably an abandoned structure, but people still live there, and it's a it just there's like an area that's walled off, and I'm sort of just behind there.
I mean the arrival of a slime colony is a natural disaster, right? Because they land from space like an asteroid strike. They cause destruction, and then they live in the crater and they build up around it. So yeah, it's like a semi-deep crater with the destroyed parts of buildings they've rebuilt into a network of stuff that all surrounds this launch pad of their rocket to heaven. So you're just in one of these abandoned former buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So there's like a big neon sign with like an alien on it and some alien characters like blinking and illuminating this little room that you're in, and you're peering out into where the slime are. Yeah, and I think maybe people are starting to show up for the viewing of the auction. You see the group of Agaran like warriors out in the crater talking, and we see that like accountant alien with the cluster of arms that we saw before. There's a bunch of like groups of pirates and stuff in there, and you see the arrival, and maybe this is a good like moment. You're looking down, and everybody kind of like looks up, and we hear a sort of like trumpet, like a fanfare, and we see these little like these little drones like fly in, and they play this music, and then they create like a spotlight that follows some people through the crowd, and the crowd moves out of the way as the Imperial Mingasi like national anthem. The national anthem is playing, and like a couple of people are awkwardly like putting their like hands to their chests and like whatever. And we see a group of about a dozen like golden armored like warriors, men and women with like half capes in the imperial blue, wearing the armor of the Mingasi like royal guard. And among them we see a man. He's young, handsome. He has like a pale kind of like gold, like platinum hair that's like done up in like a kind of a top knot with shaved sides. He has like striking features, but is obviously not related to, like, he's a much lighter color than the prince. So he's not part of the same house. And he's wearing armor with big epaulets, and he has like just like a ton of like medals and like cool like stuff like that. He has a saber on his hip and a pistol. And as they approach, like everybody's like passing. Some people are bowing or nodding or like kneeling. Most people are like looking confused. And these people like walk through the crowd. The national anthem stops playing. The drones go quiet, and they walk into one of the side buildings. And yeah, you see them approach. I don't know how like up on the members of the Imperium Quinn is. Do you think Quinn would recognize someone like this? Like, they're important, but they're not like the Queen of England important.
I figure as a former hacker jacker, I would know like the big people in the galaxy that we would like, man, one day that would be the best score if we could just like get that ship or that. I think he would recognize maybe rank. He would recognize probably what this person's from, military wise or house wise, but probably wouldn't know the name.
Okay. Yeah. All right. He is actually, no, there's mechanisms for this. Let's have you make a careful roll to discover an aspect, because the aspects are the character. So yeah, let's find out what aspect you know about him. I think we'll just say difficulty 2.
Okay.
Careful.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, 4, no problem. Okay, so I'll give you the guy's house and yeah, definitely his rank. So this is he's a Commodor. He's a naval Commodor. He is a Commodor. He's the House of Lorum, and is a very high-ranking member of the Imperial Navy. So yeah, he's an important guy. He's a big deal. The Duke probably sent him here directly, like by himself, by like ducal order. A Commodor showing up in Pirate Town is going to be a big disruptor. Right? Everyone in town is going to know about this soon. And he's not being subtle, right? They know that they're the law and they're showing up here. And what's kind of kept Dead Man's Reef like safe is that the Imperium has ignored them. So now that the Imperium is here, this might mean bad things for all of Dead Man's Reef. So I think you can sense the like nervousness in the crowd. A lot of pirates are like, "Oh, never mind, fuck this, we're out." Yeah. So that's the thing. That's what you see. And yeah, you're aware of one of his. So if you interact with this guy directly, Commodore of the Navy of the Imperium is one of his aspects.
All right.
Cool. So I guess do you need your friends to undergo this thing, or you're gonna try to handle the whole thing yourself?
No. So at the appointed time, whenever the auction's supposed to start, Quinn notices this guy, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's clearly the person that I'm meant to be, like, following up on." So he moves more towards where this guy's at, in order to figure out what to do once all this weirdness happens. But at the time that everything's supposed to go down, the slimes come out, and they're playing music, and they're having a good old like, and they come out, and they're like talking to this crowd about how they're so excited that all of these people are here to become slime.
Right.
They're gonna super die. I'm gonna feel so sad for them.
So the slimes all come out, and they're like, "Hey, everybody! Like, thanks for coming." And there's a lot of like confused looks. Like we see one of the slimes like trying to like hold hands in a circle with the Agarans. One of the Agarans just like pushes them back and like says something in their guttural language. And yeah, like it's suddenly like everyone's getting confused why all these slimes are here. And I guess what do you want? What does Quinn want out of all this chaos? Because it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But what is your intent for this?
My intent is to get this Commodor alone and figure out what he's like, why he's here for the scepter, and maybe figure out I just want to have a conversation with this guy by himself, So while everything goes crazy, I want to like snatch him up.
Cool. Okay, that's gonna be real tough because he's got he's got guards with him, right?
It would have been easier if I had a team with me, but
It's
I'm doing
true.
it myself. So
It's true.
that's how this rolls.
Okay. All right. So the slimes. Let's have you roll. So, I mean, this is clever or sneaky, and I think the difficulty is going to be like pretty considerable, but you have some stuff to work with. Let's call it difficulty 8 to get a moment alone with the Commodore.
Okay. You think it's clever or sneaky?
Yeah, whichever. Like, because it's clever that you set it up, or it's also like it could go either way.
Well, can we? All right. I'll just go for it. There's no way this will ever work with either of these abilities.
You got points. You got points. So
I do. Okay.
Okay. So you need a 5. So you need to spend all of your fate points, or 2 of them, and then one of your part of the crew, not part of the goo.
Yeah. So I definitely want to use part of the crew, not part of the goo, because this is all set up. I'm using these goo people that I am like, you're terrible. Like you're murdering people for like I have no connection to these people at all.
Sure.
Like all this is in order to, save the galaxy. And my new I literally just got my home back, and I'm not gonna lose it again. So like, fuck all this shit. So I want to use that. I'd also like to use the fact that I am a former space jacker, so I straight up
this kind of skullduggery is part of your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to use Destroyer the Great Library, in that I have zero fear when taking on bigger things than me. Like this is
and also you've shown that you are obviously you don't care about anything but your own agenda, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of a spiteful monster in that regard. There are all these innocent slimes who are about to get messed up on your behalf. So I think things grow to a bit of a head where there's all these armed people. There's the pressure of the Commodore being here already. There's the Agarans. I think an Agaran spots a Mingasi. There's some stuff that happens, and eventually it just becomes like fights and chaos. And because it's all funneled into this, like you said, like Kowloon, walled city, tight space. It gets bad. And in the chaos, everybody starts to pull away. And where do you confront the Commodore? You can set the scene.
So I imagine, because you said he went towards the building, so I imagine they were standing in a doorway at some point. Well,
sure.
He was probably further behind. So
we don't need to worry too much about the narrative details, but basically a scene happens where Quinn steps out of the shadow and is like, "Hello, Commodore."
Oh, and
right.
just grabs him and pulls him back into the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And it cuts to him up against a wall, and Quinn is just in his face, and his hand is around his throat, and the Commodore can't shout or anything because he's squeezing really, really hard.
Yeah, he's just kind of he's stiff upper lip, right? He's kind of sneering at you a little bit, and it's pinned to the wall. And he's almost as tall as you are. These guys are quite large. And you have him pinned to the wall, and so he kind of just looks at you, and again, being close to him, that kind of Mingasi charisma bubble has enveloped you, and you feel even while you're doing it, some small part of you is oh, I shouldn't be doing this.
And then I fall in love with him.
It's the equivalent of breaking a Ming vase, or some part of you just knows you shouldn't be mishandling something this beautiful and perfect.
Gotcha.
It's just built into them. And he smells faintly of cedar and orange, and you've got him pinned to the wall, and you're just no, I have to be serious. And he just looks at you yes, go ahead, whatever you're gonna say or do, get it over with.
He's Quinn says, "Tell me about the scepter. Why are you here? Why do you want it?" And gives him a little slightly release of his neck.
Yeah, he lets go, and he looks at you, and he says, "It's brave of you to show your face like this, murderer. You can kill me if you want. My guards will be here in moments. You can't escape Imperial justice this time."
And Quinn is I didn't kill anyone. I want to know about the scepter, and I want to know about the prince's sister.
When you say Prince's sister, he gives you a look like you were just like, you said something crazy. Like, that's just, the prince doesn't have any sisters. Everyone knows this. So he kind of like wrinkles his nose slightly. And he says, I came here to get the scepter. That's all you need to know. But now, and he like looks at you, he's like, now I have another mandate. I'm going to capture you and your friends, and I'm going to bring you back to the Imperial Center for Justice. And he grins like, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be such a daring swashbuckler. Now, if you'll only release my throat, I'll have at thee. You know, he's fully assured this will go his way.
Yeah, Quinn holds down his throat even more and like gets right up on him. He's like, you haven't answered a single question. And like squeezes very, very hard.
Okay. Why don't you make a roll to intimidate him? I will say it's difficulty 4, forceful, because that's what you're doing. Okay. Would you like this? Now, if you spend a fate point, you'll either re-roll or you'll get a +2. And if you get that +2, you're going to tie. And if you tie on an overcome, you'll succeed, but there'll be a minor cost. And I can already think exactly of what that minor cost would be.
I would like to... I want to re-roll with Everyone Hates a Lizard Man because this guy's giving me so much disrespect and I hate this dude. Like, how dare he?
He's treating you like a barbarian monster. So, yeah. All right, go ahead and re-roll.
Or that happens.
You got that tie. All right.
Great.
So you succeed. So you let go a little bit from to talk, and he says, "Very well, monster." And he looks at you, and you asked him. So he says to you, he says, "Once you foolishly posted on the communications network that you had the scepter, the Duke sent me forthwith to retrieve it." He shakes his head. He's like, "You're not a very good criminal, are you?" He says, "I have several ships in orbit, and he looks over his shoulder, and he says, I'm surrounded by guards at all times." And that's when you hear the like clicking and like rattling of weapons, and you turn, and there's like 6 Imperial Guard with their phase beams like pointed at you, and one of them is like, "Stop right there, scum!" And like, you know, they're treating you like a barbarian criminal lizard man who's just laid their hands on the Commodore of the Navy. So I think we see that moment where they all like lock their weapons on you, and he just grins at you like, "Ha, you fool! I knew this would go this way." We cut from that to, and I think that the like girls just want to have fun, like starts to come back up in the title, and so we hear that. We cut over to Rex at the bar, and Rex, what do we see? You're alone in this like awful bar by yourself. This cheerful music is playing in the background of this show, but not for you. What do we see?
I think the same music is playing on like a space jukebox in the bar, but it's like, because the mood is so different, it's almost depressing.
Yeah,
that
totally.
it's on.
Yeah,
and,
there's just like glasses out in front of you, and yeah, I think maybe someone brings you like a traditional. The waiter brings you a traditional like sharkanoid cocktail, which is like a glass of some clear fluid with a goldfish floating around in it.
Yeah.
And you just like, take it and like look at it sadly, like drink the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like chasing the goldfish with his finger or something, and the same music is playing, but like the tone is so different that the music is just like kind of just like depressing.
Totally. Yeah. And then we cut over to Eugene, and Eugene, where are you? Do we see you like looking at Rex through the window, or where's Eugene?
Yeah, I think when you see him, it's like sort of, you know, an over the shoulder shot of him like looking in the window and then turning back out, and at that moment you realize like it's more of like a sunset-y sort of, you know, like the coloring of the sky has changed, like the day is progressing. He's been out there for a while, and maybe from where he is he can hear that there's like the ruckus happening over in the slums.
Yeah, totally. We hear like an explosion or something, and you look up and we see some Imperium hunter drones like fly over your head.
Right.
And then back on the ship to close off the episode. Aurora The music still playing again, not for your character, but for us.
I
What do we-
actually think Aurora, you see her outside the ship, but she's sort of by the port, and there's like this water in front of her, the same sunset that you see Eugene, just like now it's Aurora. And you see her sitting on this bench, and she has the bottle of booze, a new bottle of booze, and you see her crying. And that's when Dango walks up and puts his arm on her his hand on her shoulder.
Right. So you're sitting there like crying, and it's like playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And we see what's great is we see him from the feet up, and it's just like this like perfectly pressed tuxedo. And he's got a cape and a top hat. And we see him like with the sun behind him, and he just reaches his white gloved hand out, and he's like, "Hey, beautiful. What you crying about?" And he pulls a colorful handkerchief out of his sleeve, and there's more handkerchiefs, and he just pulls them out like hands of tea, like, "Don't worry, baby." And like, yeah, and that's the last thing we see. Oh, that's so good. Cool. And then bam, goes to credits. Nice work, everybody. Good stuff. Sometimes when we're playing this game and we're like setting these scenes and stuff, I'm like, I want someone else to make this a TV show so that I can watch it and be like, yeah, that's what that looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it so much. Cool. Well, good episode, everybody. Let's do some shout outs, and then we'll go record that Patreon video. Why don't we start with we'll do it in backwards order. Pokket, why don't you go first? Shout out for us.
Hi everybody, I'm Pokket, and I play Aurora, the alcoholic now. And I have a lot of fun. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Pokket on Twitter or Pokket on Twitch. And I play and rage in a lot of games. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's it. I'm tired today. I don't know why.
Jesse.
Hi everyone, it's me, Jesse from the internet. Over there, that's all the place you can find me. I'm playing fun games and doing fun things and, having a good time. It's I have a fucking cool job and I get to play this game with these nerds every weekend and it's great. So if you want to see more of that, that's where you can see it.
Nice work. Thanks, Jesse. Sam?
You're welcome.
Fuck. I mean, like normally I go before Jesse, so I don't have to follow that up. But you can find me Twitch Strippin, Twitter Strippin, Instagram Sam Strippin. Yeah, I play video games for a living. Got it pretty good. This is
You might
this
also
was a good
be,
episode. This was like
you might also be King Arthur.
This was like the
He is.
Yeah. I have to discover myself. This was like the episode where like everybody like falls out and then we reform for the next episode and whoop some ass.
This was our Empire Strikes Back.
This is our Empire Strikes Back. This is great. So I had a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Cool. All right. Dodger.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger, Eugene X Shadow Person OTP for life, and yeah, the show's always fun. I hope that you guys come and hang out with us next time that we do it. And if this is your first episode and you're super fucking confused, go watch all of the previous ones because we don't blame you. A lot of weird shit happens in this show. You should be confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do YouTube, I do Twitch. I would love it if you'd come and hang out with me.
Cool. Thank you. I am your spacemaster, Adam Koebel. You can find me on Twitter at SkinnyGhost or twitch.tv/Adam Koebel. You can also find me right here at ItMeJP running Court of Swords and over at Roll20 app on Twitch running a couple of games over there. So lots of role-playing content. You'll see me again on Tuesday for Court of Swords. And then if you are a roleplay patron, which I'm sure you are because it's cheap as hell, you'll see me and these nerds in just a few minutes where we're going to go and record the video for the post show. I'm going to post up a Q&A thread on the community. So if you have fan art, of which I have seen some excellent examples.
Such good stuff lately.
There's a really good Quinn and a really good Rex that I saw on Twitter both last week. So feel free to dump those on the community site. I keep a close watch on those threads and share art with everybody. So if you have cool pictures, that's where to show it. We will see you next time for more Nebula Jazz. Thanks for coming, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.